Hello, everybody out on the internet. Today we're going to talk about the phalanx, mainly the ancient Greek phalanx, although, they weren't the only ones to use it. So, what it was, for those who don't know, was kind of a shield wall formation, but there were also spears or pikes sticking out. Now, I'll demonstrate how this worked. Let me see if I can find something. Okay, pretend this is my shield and this is my spear, of course. The spear would be bigger and the shield would be bigger, rounder, and not the Torah, but here we go. With the left hand, the hoplite or what have you would hold his shield, so, like this. And then overhead with the spear like this. It's a common misconception that they held the spears like this, like that. But actually they would do this so they could lock their shields in place together and just have complete coverage across the board. Now, see, the problem with this, and this was exploited numerous times, was that the person all the way on the far right of the phalanx would not have complete coverage. So if you want to take down a bunch of soldiers who have formed a phalanx, your safest bet would probably be to try and hit them on the right flank. So let's go over the weapons. As I said, the shields were very large and round, and they would also have, many times there would be a form of short sword or maybe a long dagger. Now, this was for the most part to kill enemies who had fallen onto the ground, or, worst case scenario, somebody's spear breaks, then at least they still have something to use. And now, brief point about the spears here. They didn't all use the same types of spears all the time. See, phalanx, it's not like an official type of unit. The phalanx is a formation. So it wouldn't be, oh, these men are a phalanx, like in the sense of these men are a legion. It would be, these men are forming a phalanx. These spearmen are forming a phalanx. Now, often used by the ancient Greeks was a spear called the dory, which was pretty long. I've got the exact measurement here somewhere. Hold on. Yes, it was about 7-8 feet in length, maybe 9, and that would be held one-handed, while in the left hand there would be the spear. The shield. Now later, Philip II of Macedon, he made some changes. Now his ideal phalanx position included a longer spear, I believe called the sarissa, yes. Now that was actually a pike, and the official, real length of it is not completely known, but it was much bigger than the dory, about twice as long. So it would be roughly maybe, I'd say 15 feet, up to 20 possibly, maybe even more. Now, because of this, there would have to be kind of a counterweight on the end, so that the front part with the spearhead doesn't keep falling to the ground. And also, since it was so big and obviously much heavier, they would hold it two-handed. So the shield, instead, would not be as big a shield anymore. It would be a smaller shield, which would have been used by skirmishing troops as well, that was strapped to the left arm instead of being held like a big shield. It was a smaller shield that was strapped to the left arm. Now this was sacrificing defense to an extent for increased maneuverability because these spears were too big. But oftentimes that wasn't as much of an issue because the spears in this case were much longer, so they could hit somebody from farther away. But also, and this has nothing to do with spear length, made them more vulnerable to ranged attacks like arrows or javelins. So there's a trade-off. Let's see, armor. We should talk about armor while we're here. We may as well do that. Earlier on, they would use sort of bronze armor, a lot of metal. But later, there began to be sort of a transition for greater mobility. There would be sheets of linen glued together, which is, I guess, harder than it sounds. And this was because of an increase in cavalry. When the Greeks started using more cavalry, the hoplites and such realized that they needed to make their phalanx formations more maneuverable because... Now, hold on here. So say I'm here with my buds. We're forming a phalanx position. We're facing this way. The cavalry comes around and hits us from this side. We're not going to have a very good time. And if our armor is too heavy, we can't move around. We can't move around as quick, So with lighter armor, they were able to just whip around. And that's probably all I have. And I'm hoping that after I end this video, I don't think of something that I forgot to say. I probably will. Good night. What did I tell you? I knew I would forget something, so I'm just going to edit this last part into the end of the video. Oftentimes, during ancient Greek conflicts, they wouldn't just have a battle anywhere. A lot of times they'd go to a nice, level, even field and duke it out there. And the reason for that is because the phalanx formation only really does well on flat, even ground. Once you get a bunch of hills and rocks and shit all over everywhere, it's going to be a lot harder to stay in formation. And formation was key in the phalanx because it was so inflexible. So you had to have the guys stick together. I mean, not presenting a completely united front end could mean the end. So, yeah, alright, that's really everything now.